Hi, welcome to the quiz. You can answer along on quizalto.com, all for free. The exact URL of this quiz will be in the notes down below. Let's get started. Good luck. What is the purpose of the result path field in a task state? To set the next state's path. To indicate the error path. To define the task's input path. To specify where to place the task's output. The result path field in a task state of AWS Step Function specifies where to place the task's output in the state's input, allowing you to preserve or overwrite the original input. Which state is used to handle errors in AWS Step Functions? Catch. Fail. Exception. Error. The catch field within a state is used in AWS Step Functions to handle errors, allowing you to define error handling paths for different types of errors. What does task state represent in AWS Step Functions? A final state in the workflow. A choice between multiple branches. A single unit of work performed by a state machine. A delay in the workflow. In AWS Step Functions, a task state represents a single unit of work that is performed by the state machine, such as invoking an AWS Lambda function or starting an AWS batch job. What is the primary purpose of AWS Step Functions? To orchestrate multiple AWS services into serverless workflows. To provide static website hosting. To manage relational databases in the cloud. To offer content delivery network services. AWS Step Functions is designed to coordinate multiple AWS services into serverless workflows, allowing you to build complex, multi-step processes without managing infrastructure. Which AWS service can Step Functions use for human approval tasks? Amazon Mechanical Turk. Amazon Simple Notification Service. Amazon SQS. AWS Lambda. Step Functions can use Amazon SNS to send notifications to humans for approval tasks, pausing the workflow until a decision is received. What is the purpose of the cause field in a fail state? To set error codes. To specify error sources. To define error severity. To provide error details. The cause field in a fail state of AWS Step Functions allows you to provide human-readable error details, aiding in debugging and error tracking. What is the maximum number of parallel branches in a parallel state? No fixed limit. 100. 50. 10. AWS Step Functions does not impose a fixed limit on the number of parallel branches in a parallel state, allowing for highly concurrent workflows. What is the maximum time a state machine execution can run in AWS Step Functions? 1 year. 1 week. 1 month. 6 months. A state machine execution in AWS Step Functions can run for a maximum of 1 year, making it suitable for long-running, complex workflows that span months. What is the purpose of the seconds path field in a wait state? To set a wait step size. To define a maximum wait time. To dynamically set the wait duration. To specify the wait start time. The seconds path field in a wait state of AWS Step Functions allows you to dynamically set the wait duration based on the state's input, providing flexible delays. Which feature in Step Functions allows dynamic parallelism? Wait state with callbacks. Map state with item processor. Choice state branches. Parallel state. The map state with the item processor feature in AWS Step Functions allows for dynamic parallelism, adjusting the number of parallel executions based on the input array's size. Which component in AWS Step Functions represents the entire workflow? State machine. Task. Step. Activity. In AWS Step Functions, a state machine represents the entire workflow, defining all the steps, their order, and the logic that governs transitions between them. What is the purpose of the retry field in a task state? To redirect to an error state. To automatically retry failed tasks. To reset the task's input. To restart the state machine. The retry field in a task state of AWS Step Functions allows you to automatically retry failed tasks, specifying conditions like error types and backoff strategies. What is the purpose of the resource field in a task state? To set CPU units. To specify the service to invoke. To define input resources. To allocate memory. The resource field in a task state of AWS Step Function specifies the service to invoke, such as a Lambda function ARN or an ECS task ARN. What is the purpose of the processor config in a map state? To configure the item processor function. To define memory limits. To set CPU allocation. To specify GPU usage. The processor config in a map state of AWS Step Functions is used to configure the item processor function, which dynamically processes each item in parallel. What is the purpose of the pass state in AWS Step Functions? To pass input to output without performing work. To transfer data between state machines. To bypass error states. To skip optional tasks. The pass state in AWS Step Functions simply passes its input to its output without performing any work, often used to inject fixed data into the workflow or to construct complex objects. Which feature allows Step Functions to make synchronous function calls? Synchronous express workflows. Lambda integration. Sync state. Direct invocation. Synchronous express workflows in AWS Step Functions allow for synchronous, fast function calls, ideal for microservices architectures requiring quick responses. Which service can Step Functions use for serverless container orchestration? AWS Fargate. Amazon EKS. AWS Lambda. Amazon Lightsail. Step functions can use AWS Fargate for serverless container orchestration, allowing you to run containerized tasks without managing servers. What is the purpose of the max concurrency field in a map state? To specify max duration. To limit parallel executions. To define max errors. To set maximum retries. The max concurrency field in a map state of AWS Step Functions limits the number of parallel executions, helping to control resource usage and API call rates. Which AWS service can Step Functions use for data lake formation tasks? Amazon S3, AWS Glue, AWS Lake Formation, Amazon Athena. Step functions can use AWS Lake Formation to orchestrate data lake formation tasks, such as setting up security policies and registering new data sources. What is the purpose of the fail state in AWS Step Functions? To trigger an alarm. To retry a failed task. To end the execution as a failure. To log an error. The fail state in AWS Step Functions is used to end the execution and mark it as a failure, often used to handle unrecoverable errors or violations of business logic. Which AWS service can be used to trigger Step Functions executions on a schedule? AWS Glue, Amazon SQS, AWS Lambda, Amazon Event Bridge. Amazon Event Bridge can be used to trigger Step Functions executions on a schedule, making it easy to automate workflows at specific times. What is the purpose of the choice state in AWS Step Functions? To retry failed tasks. To add conditional logic to the workflow. To start a parallel execution. To pass data between states. The choice state in AWS Step Functions allows you to add conditional logic to your workflow, directing the flow based on the output of a previous task or predefined conditions. Which state is used to introduce a delay in AWS Step Functions workflow? Delay. Wait. Sleep. Pause. The wait state is used in AWS Step Functions to introduce a delay in the workflow execution, either for a specific duration or until a specified timestamp. Which AWS service can Step Functions use for database migration tasks? Amazon Redshift, AWS Database Migration Service, Amazon RDS, Amazon DynamoDB. Step functions can use AWS DMS to orchestrate database migration tasks, coordinating steps like schema conversion and data replication. Which AWS service can be used to pass payloads between step functions and external services? AWS Direct Connect, Amazon MQ, Amazon Simple Queue Service, AWS AppSync. Amazon SQS can be used to pass payloads between step functions and external services, providing a reliable message queue for asynchronous communication. And that's a wrap. Thanks to everyone who participated. Remember, you can answer along on quizalto.com, where you can keep track of your progress and find much more quizzes. We hope you had a fun and challenging time. Until next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more. Hit the bell icon to be notified as soon as we upload. Please leave a comment if you have any thoughts or suggestions, and if you think this video is worth sharing with someone who could benefit from it, please forward a link to them. See you next time. Thanks for watching.